Hey, everybody. Just welcome to Capt Ron and Dieter Staudinger to our weekly Fearless Flight live show. Why does that sound like I'm stretching for that? Because we were just heavily engaged in making sure the thing was launched. It's never a dull moment here. It's like always running at the last minute, right, Dieter? Dieter's manipulating the slides, and I'm over creating space on the server and all that. But anyway, well, welcome everybody. We're always happy to be here, and we got some great stuff tonight. We're gonna encourage the heck out of you to put your bodies in Los Angeles on April 12th. And so without further ado, let me go ahead and share the slides and get this show on the road. So once again, welcome everybody. This is our weekly.
Ron, you're sharing your desktop.
Okay, how about if I do that? Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. If you have a fear of flying, or you know somebody's afraid to fly, you're in the right place here. Or if you just like to hear our opinion on what's going on in the airline industry, and it seems quiet, doesn't it, Dieter, without any of the stuff from a month ago or 2 months ago?
Yeah, you know what? It was definitely different preparing for this week's show. Honestly, I'm genuinely glad, because we do have some great news to share, and that's much better to talk about than any incidents or something like that. So
for sure. Wow, I've just been seeing a lot of activity on the Fearless Flight Birds of a Feather group this week. I've been getting a lot of notices. Angie's been contributing. These are just some of the names that pop off the top of my head. And I love it when you all are in there supporting each other. And I try to jump in. I haven't done much this week because I've been busy doing other things. But if you're not a member, please consider joining. The link, Dieter has a link up there on the screen. It's FLF link /BOF, Birds of a Feather. And it's just a great place. And some of the folks that I end up doing 50-minute coaching calls come from there. And so
I just wanna if any of you are watching and you're try to join the group, we do have questions that we need you to answer before and those are just group rules, etiquette. This is a safe space for people to come and be supported and support each other. So there are certain things that we absolutely encourage, and then there are certain things we absolutely want to actually protect that safe and nurturing space from. So if you haven't been accepted, it was probably because you didn't answer all the questions. And just go to that page again, and then you'll see the questions that you need to answer if you want to become part of our group. Okay.
Yeah, it's really a dual purpose. One is to establish a little etiquette to keep everybody safe. That's our most important goal. And the other one is just protect us from Facebook, so we don't inadvertently get bumped off. Because wow, I've talked to some people who got bumped off, and it was extremely difficult to get back on, and we don't want that to happen. So okay, tonight we're going to talk again a little bit about the LA thing. It's becoming bigger and bigger. It's going to be a week from this Saturday. We didn't even put anything up there for any of you who will be in Phoenix this Saturday. I feel a little bit remiss about not doing that, but we do have a live Clear for Takeoff 101 in-person class at the Phoenix airport this Saturday night at 6 p.m. And you probably remember that we do that on a Southwest Airlines 737. And then for any and everybody who wants to, the following morning, this coming Sunday at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern, we have our monthly Fearless Flight or Clear for Takeoff 101 online class. So it's our effort, our attempt to provide that first kind of experience and exposure for people who can't make it to Phoenix for the live class in Phoenix here. So please join us for as many of those things as you can. The price is right, and we really love having you there. Tonight, I'm going to talk about a little bit about the Fearless Flight method. What's in it for you? That's our three-legged stool that that is the foundation for all the things that we try to do to help people overcome their flight anxiety. And we're going to highlight the monthly group coaching webinar. This month's topic is your inner autopilot, regaining control when fear takes over. Losing control, fear of losing control bothers 99% of you out there. And then, of course, last but not least is any questions you might have. So please feel free to put comments in there and put questions in there as they come up. Okay, here's the link once again, in case you haven't checked it out and you might be in LA on April 12th. This is going to be a great opportunity. We're back in the newest location, the third for our friend Talat, Capt Ron, who owns that. And it was his efforts back in 2014, when he saw me on ABC's Nightline show. He called me up the next day and said, "Hey, Ron, I've been looking for you. I want you to come over and do classes over here." And we did it all the way up and through 2019. And then 2020, the pandemic kicked us out. And then when the pandemic ended, we, bless his heart, he got caught in first the writer's strike, then the actor's strike, and then earlier this year we were going to start in February, and then the fires over in LA interfered. But thanks, he's never lost sight of his commitment to us and being able to teach over there and use his wonderful resource, that the mock-up that he has. So there it is on the calendar on April 12th. Some of you may have had trouble today. Dieter's trying to teach me a new platform, and what I didn't realize is if I put an event on my calendar and it covers over the event on this other new calendar, you don't get the right results when you go in there. But he has repaired that. We've made the
all that's resolved.
So
I just want to say, if you have signed up, or there may be remnants of mentions of Phoenix. I'm working as fast as I can to make all of them disappear. Thank you so much for those of you who have already registered and let us know. We really appreciate the feedback, and it really helps. Like Ron said, we are in the process of moving everything into finally what we hope will be the home of FearlessFlight digitally. And we're really excited about that, but it is a bit of a learning curve, and so there are some challenges. And so thank you for your feedback. Really appreciate that.
And the bulk of the learning curve falls on Dieter, and I just can't thank him enough for taking that part on. He's got his own skills as a therapist and all that, but he's the one that has made this really possible. And this is the most exciting time for me in 37 years. And Dieter has patiently stood by for the last 8 years, trying to help get us to the point where we're doing this. We are at that point. So maybe another month to 6 weeks, maybe 2 months, you'll see some glitches and stuff. And we really invite your comments to let us know when you see something that's not working, because this is a major, we got over 200 pages or so, Dieter, that we've got.
Yeah, we got in our Cleared for Takeoff 201 online course, we have over 140 pages of content, and I think something like 80 or 90 are actually video pages. So if you ever don't know what to do, and we definitely have a lot of content, but Ron and I really we take feedback from you. And one thing that we do know, when you have anxiety, when we have anxiety,
yeah,
our brains are not quite working as well. And so we were really looking for a solution, a platform that actually is user-friendly when you are in those heightened states. And so we are switching the things over bit by bit. So our intention is to make it easier for you to get to our content, to consume it, whether it's on mobile, whether it's on a desktop or on your iPad. And obviously help us on the back end to administer and be with you in a much more intimate and relatable way. So
Yeah, thanks, Drew. And we are very sensitive because we also use the internet, and we get frustrated when we go to a site and it doesn't work the way you expected it, or you need a new education to get there. And we recognize that at least all of us have some level of resistance and ineptitude when it comes to doing things here. And so we really appreciate your feedback. And I was just thinking, and Dieter's probably already gotten there too, but in the upcoming weeks, I think we'll put at least one show together talking about showing you some of the changes that are in the mill and things like that. So, okay. Well, tonight we wanted to emphasize just what is it, why is community so important to overcoming your fear of flying? And it really is. I mean, we have the platform that the Fearless Flight method that I'll touch on in a minute, but community is one of the things, one of the legs of that stool, and it is absolutely the most important part. There's no substitute for walking into a classroom and seeing a bunch of other people in there, like-minded people with the same kinds of struggles, who really get you, who really understand. And that is why we want to talk about the importance of taking advantage of, whether it's a webinar with people on board, like our monthly live coaching webinars, or whether it's an opportunity to join a live class in Phoenix or in LA, like the one coming up. And and flight anxiety troubles so many people out there, literally millions of people. And the numbers vary widely, from 25 million to 60 to 70 million. And it's estimated that between 15 and 25%. And if you have 25% of the U.S. population, you're talking 75 million people who are bothered by that. And that's consistent with what I've seen over the 37 years that I've been doing this. And if you're just a little bit nervous about flying, but you still do it, you ain't a real fearful flyer. If it limits your travel, career, and life experiences, and it causes you to alter your choices in life, it's an issue. And we help people transform their relationship with flying. We help people change the way about the way they think about flying. And that's the key. You have to change the story about that. These are the three core components of the Fearless Flight method. We want to educate you. We want to help you learn how to disrupt or distract your thinking, so that you can get on the airplane with a much greater level of confidence. And the last one is, of course, the power of community, meeting other people to realize that you are not alone in that. Education, what we do with that is we help replace the unknown with understanding. The one of the things about the brain, and that's part of the psychology of fear, is it does not like uncertainty, and it will make things up in order to have a sense that it does understand something. And of course, when it comes to aviation, there's few things out there that are as mysterious as aviation and flying airplanes. And so we talk about how airplanes work. We talk about aviation safety, and we help you explore the psychology of fear and that of your own fear, because that's important to know. Because one of the things that people sometimes don't realize is your brain is not wired to cooperate with you on some things, and you need to really understand what those limitations are, because it's very troublesome. We help people, as I said, disrupt obsessive thought loops. And this is where your attention gets hijacked, and you simply cannot move it back to where you'd like to have complete control over. And that's where the fear of being out of control comes from, because once the biology kicks in reacts to some sort of stimulus, then you feel like you lose control. And the ironic thing is, while you'll never be able to control the actual airplane, you can learn to control aspects of your own response and reactivity. And that's where you find peace. We talk about the amygdala, how it gets activated. And this slide up here symbolizes the difference between an amygdala and a calm brain. And one of the issues with the amygdala is it doesn't make a distinction between whether your perception is real, In other words, it's a clear and present danger, like a bear outside your tent flap when you wake up in the morning on a camping trip, or whether it's imagined, and that is when you create the thoughts of what if about the bear, even after you might successfully escape from any threat there. And flight anxiety often involves catastrophic thinking, and we teach evidence-based tools like the ones on the screen there: distance self-talk, breathing techniques, visualization, and anchoring rituals. Those are all things that have a scientific basis to them, and those are the things we talk about. And we use these evidence-based tools to help you break free of these obsessive thought loops and help you stay grounded and calm in the moment, because fear only happens in the future. Connecting with others, again, back to joining the community, that's the third leg of the stool. And it's just amazingly helpful to connect with others who share the same fear. And often that is the most healing part of the journey. It certainly is when we fly with groups of people. Dieter can attest to that. There's nothing like being on doing a 301 class, which we're going to talk about that one coming up here too. And community replaces the sense of isolation, and it replaces empathy, replaces your sense of isolation, being the only one, with empathy and hope from realizing that you're not alone. And also sharing experiences with others helps reduce the shame that people often feel, like, why me, and what's wrong with me. But the community fosters growth, and that's what this is all about. There's the new soundstage in Los Angeles. It's up in Valencia, and it's a real airplane set. No flying required. We're not going to try to get well, that's actually the real fuselage of a smaller jet there. We will make no attempt to get that airborne. Our facilities are going to be, or resources are on the inside of that. You're going to meet experts and peers, and some of those experts and peers are you all talking to other people out there. You're going to have an ability to ask questions, share your stories, and get real support. The 101 class itself is an immersive, hands-on experience that brings together education, coping tools, and community in one empowering day. It's held here at Air Hollywood Studio up there, and it offers a realistic but safe environment. And I can't overemphasize that. Realistic but safe. And you'll walk away really, really, really grateful for having had the opportunity to come and participate with us. This is one of the most often quotes that we hear when a group of people come together like this. I thought I was the only one. People have formed lifelong friendships. When you'll meet people, you'll connect. We'll have some activities that you'll get an opportunity to share in depth and in detail your story with other members of the group, and we'll be able to support you through every stage of your healing. In this slide highlights the emotional power of shared experiences with others. Many of our attendees say that meeting others with similar fears was the most important part of their recovery. And that's an extension of what we try to accomplish with the Birds of a Feather private Facebook group. So won't you please join us on April 12th? Take your first step towards getting into the air again if you haven't flown in a while or ever, or getting back into the air with a higher level of confidence, so you can replace your fear with hope and empathy. You'll come and learn, connect, and heal with other members of the group, and visit FearlessFlight.com to register for this. If you in any way think that you're going to be anywhere near the 101 class over there, I can't emphasize enough to take a chance and come and join us. Okay.
And the links are in the chat, Ron. So I put the links for the upcoming class on April 5th, Phoenix Sky Harbor. That's up there. Sunday, April 6th, we have our 101 online. Both of those are free. And then Saturday, April 12th, that's in Los Angeles at Hollywood. There's the link. And also Saturday, May 10th. The links for that are in the chat. The link for what Ron is about to talk about, we will hopefully have ready in the next day or two. But that's actually something really exciting as well. So Ron, why don't you
Okay,
share
this is really going to be cool. Dieter, oh man, we've had people. Thank you for being patient out there. When are we going to fly again? When are we going to fly again? So Dieter and I have really been struggling with this, and we typically have done a class for Phoenix to do a round trip somewhere, and a class for the folks in the LA area out of Burbank to go out and back somewhere. And I don't even remember how it came to us, but I know, if I'm doing a class out of Burbank, I got to fly to Burbank anyway. So we thought, is there a way that we can have a class out of Phoenix and a class out of Burbank the same day? Yes, there is. And here's what it looks like. And you don't try to remember this, because Dieter's going to put this all together in a slide and information on that. But imagine me going over to Burbank the night before the flight. Okay, and this is going to be May 31st. That's when this is going to take place. So on the morning of May 31st, I will get up somewhere in Burbank, go to the airport, and meet a class of you who are going to fly with me that day. We are going to fly. Where? We're going to go to Phoenix with a class of people. We're going to arrive at Phoenix. We are now going to hook up with a class of people from Phoenix, and they're going to join us. So now we're going to have a big party on the way back between the Phoenix people and the Burbank people. We're going to fly back to Burbank, and we're going to have a break in the schedule where we're going to have some fun, some more education, some camaraderie, probably a bite of lunch or whatever. And then the people from Burbank, we're going to wave bye-bye to them, and the folks that going back to Phoenix, including me, we're going to get back on the airplane. We're going to conclude our day at the airport. And since we will have done all the festivities and all that over there in Burbank, now all you have to do is get back to Phoenix and get in your car and go home. And you are now a fearless flyer. And I'm really excited about that. And part of the excitement is not just about the opportunity to test this out the first time on May 31st in Phoenix, but this looks like this could be an opportunity for me to link other cities like Boston and BWI, for example, Baltimore. We don't know, but we're actually going to take a look at that, because it allows me to kill two birds with one stone. And I've done a couple of flights out of Boston over the past couple of years. And that's a bigger logistics thing. So it makes a lot more sense for me to go back there and do the same kind of setup there. Heck, who knows? I might even have 3 legs. I don't know, but that would probably be a real stretch. But this is a great opportunity to fly if you live or will be anywhere near Phoenix or anywhere near LA to Burbank Airport on May 31st. So stay tuned for that. Okay, and this is just a more specific marquee here. So Saturday, May 31st, 2025, we're going to have a class when we get the registration site up, you'll see the prices and the flights and the itinerary and all that. So you can get over there. We wanted to do this enough in advance so that we could help feed people into those classes from Phoenix and Burbank, and give you enough time to buy your ticket as soon as possible, so that we can take advantage of the however cheap the fares are on Southwest. Because if not just Southwest, but all the airlines, but particularly Southwest, since we use them, the closer you get to the day of departure, the more the computer says, they must really need to fly, and they raise the price until it peaks out about inside of a week.
Just to give you an idea, the return flight, actually both of the flights, the flight from Burbank to Phoenix, in the morning that you guys will be taking, if you are in the Burbank group, flying with Capt Ron to Phoenix, right now that's $90 wanna get away fare. And the same for the Phoenix group that wants to get back to Phoenix in the afternoon with us. That flight is also just $90 right now. So you know what, these are and I think the other flight is 110 or 115. So
yeah, it's 115. I remember.
yeah,
but
so
you're right.
we always have this challenge of dealing with the challenge that you're facing with your confidence. And who's gonna buy a plane ticket 3 weeks in advance when they haven't even gone to the class yet? When it's $90, and that's why we want to do both of these Burbank classes, and of course we have the Phoenix class coming up, both in a couple of days, and then in the beginning of May as well. So honestly, we are doing everything that we can to support you in your goal to meet and overcome your fear of flying in 2025. So, and Josh Garvey says, "Hey, appreciate you guys. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Good to hear from
That
you.
means a lot. Thank you."
And the worst thing that we hear is at the end of the class, when we leave, or when we're at the airport and or talking about going to the airport, people saying, "Oh man, I wished I'd have bought a ticket." That is the saddest moment, because they realize that they do have the confidence. There's a sense of energy and confidence when you prepare the way that we help you prepare for this, and we just want as many people to take advantage of it as possible. So we've had people talking to me over the last 6 months saying, "When are we going to fly? When are we going to fly?" And we thought we might pull it off by March, but with the fire and everything over there, we got pushed back. But we're going to run 2 classes over there in prior to the May 31st, and 2 over here in the 101 class in Phoenix. And our goal is to feed as many people onto these flights as possible. Okay.
And yes, Joan, I just want to quickly reply to Joan. Yes, when we have those registration pages up, once you register, you will get the exact flight numbers that you will need to book on Southwest Airlines. So we'll have all of those details ready. That's why it takes us a little longer, because you don't want to make mistakes booking the wrong flight
No.
that day. So.
And it's the tough part is I couldn't make 2 trips in the same day, one way or the other. So oh my God, between Dieter and I, we probably spent 6 hours looking at that silly Southwest website, trying to figure out a combination that would work. And we finally settled for the fact that it's not going to work unless I go over to Burbank the night before. But that's really going to work well. And so we're really excited about this, more so than ever before, because of the fact that we're going to have at least one part of that. We're going to have a bunch of people from Phoenix and a bunch of people from Burbank together over there, and so it's really going to be cool. Okay, all right. I just want to close this. You were meant to fly. You really were. Even though the old joke, if God would have intended us to fly, we would have been born with wings. But he or she didn't. But we don't need that, because a couple of guys called the Wright brothers, and many people before that, because that was a fascination with mankind. But starting with the Wright brothers, we started to figure out how to do it intentionally. And I want to just reassure you tonight that you can fly. And when I first started doing this 37 years ago, people were much more likely to say, I don't want to necessarily end up in where I like it and all that. I realize that may not be possible. I just want to be able to do it more comfortably. Well, both are possible. So don't close the door on being able not only to get on the airplane with more confidence, but learn a process. Whether you fly once a year, once every 2 years, or once a month, you can get to a point where you have a process that you can reacclimate yourself. And we've had literally hundreds of people talk to us about that, and how there's not a day that goes by that I don't get some kind of affirmation from somebody saying, "Thank you for what I learned in the classes, and I'm flying out there." And we're always just a text or a phone call away if you need a little bump of confidence or anything like that. But I cannot reiterated enough that transformation is not only possible, but it's already happening through using our Fearless Flight method and starting with the Clear for Takeoff 101. We haven't even talked about what you can do for maintenance in terms of the Clear for Takeoff online 201 online class, which is up there. And once we get the website transformed over to this new platform, we've got I started this process of upgrading a lot of the content. It's going to be all new. So if you're a member of the Fearless Flyer Club and you've ever been a member of the 201, you're going to get access for free to all the new information and the new ways of distributing the information for that. So again,
Ron, quick question. Tracy wants to know if we have any further information, or if we know of anything that the military has done to stop those close calls, because I guess there was another one recently in the DC area. So I'm personally, I'm not aware, but I mean, it's your country, so you guys might have more information, but I'm not familiar with anything that came out from the military regarding what they're doing.
If you saw that in a link, Tracy, send it to us if you would.
Well, she's asking us actually, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't something out there. We've been so inundated and immersed in our own stuff here, working on the site and everything and getting ready for class. But so anybody out there, if anybody out there has heard or seen a news story about that, please send me a link, send us a link, and we'll, of course, and if it has any urgency, we'll create a post on our Facebook page in the Birds of the Feather thing. So yeah, but I'm not aware of anything really recent. We haven't seen. I haven't seen anything either, an update on either of the two crashes up there. But it can take a while for them to get the preliminary information.
We should maybe wrap up the Canadian equivalent to the NTSB did release a pretty detailed account and kind of like report of the Delta flight that rolled over. So maybe we can do that next week or one of the next couple of shows. So
sure. And I was just seeing some of the continued disruption in some of the government agencies here with the efforts to reduce cost, and it could get interesting. People were sent back to work and they didn't have a booth or anything. But again, just regarding the FAA and air traffic control, I want to tell you the number one control on the number of airplanes in the skies is the staffing and the capabilities of the FAA controllers, air traffic control. So the thing you can anticipate if there is a disruption in the workforce or for any reason, what will happen is you will end up, if you fly, you will end up taking delays on the ground, and you'll be waiting a lot more. And that nothing will probably get our collective act together in the U.S. here than that, because people will become very impatient, particularly business travelers. They can't handle missing meetings and waiting another day for flights. So April 12th, put it on your calendar. We're going to meet in the Air Hollywood studios from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. It'll be a nice 2-hour class there, and we'll have some great activities for you. So there it is again up in the calendar, April 12th. And as Dieter mentioned, we will have the next month in May, we're going to have another class in LA on May 10th. That again is the second Saturday of the month. So please come and join us. We really, really, really are looking forward to getting back over there in the facility and letting you have a little bit of realism there.
So Ron, let me just very briefly summarize, because maybe Cheryl didn't watch from the beginning. The question is, how do the Burbank and the Phoenix class differ? And the best way I can say this to you is, in Phoenix, you have the unique opportunity, as far as I'm aware of, as the only opportunity in the entire country to board a live stationary Southwest airplane for 2 hours and have the class there with Capt Ron. Usually there's somebody from Southwest there as well. And in Burbank, you have the unique and definitely, again, as I'm aware of, the only opportunity to go into an aviation themed movie studio called Air Hollywood and have pretty much the same content, because it is the one-on-one class, delivered to you while you're sitting in a mock-up of a plane. Again, the whole idea is we have to in some way evoke your triggers without overwhelming you, but we need to get those triggers up, because that's when we can reprogram them, right? Because you're not really afraid to fly when you're not thinking about flying, when you don't have a flight coming up. It's not really, it's like an allergy, like we often say. And so those are the two really unique features of each of the classes. And Gerald just said, I've done the Phoenix class and it was great. Well, if you love the Phoenix class, then I highly recommend to you flying with us on May 31st, or if you can manage it, fly over to Burbank yourself and join us on April 12th or May 10th for the class there. So
absolutely. Yep. And I promise you, in both cases, I will not move the airplane in Phoenix here because I am not an employee of Southwest Airlines. That would be the last time I would ever see the light of day. And we will not get the mock-up airborne, because first, it's inside of a building, and second, it doesn't have any wings. So anyway, but those are funny things that come up. I've actually had people say, "No, you're not going to move this thing, are you?" No, we won't move either one of them, I promise you. So anyway, okay. Well, that's all the news worth printing for this evening. Thanks again, Dieter, for helping me race to the finish line and put on another edition of this. And thanks to all of you out there. We really, really are looking forward. We thrive on getting together with you, rubbing elbows with you personally, and in as much as possible, actually flying with you in the air. So so do your best to get there, and regardless of whether you can make this particular class or not, stay with us, stay connected, and remember, you can change the way you think about flying and put it in your rearview mirror. Okay? So thanks, everybody. We'll see you again next week for another edition of Fearless Flight Live. That's all for tonight. Bye-bye, and have a great